Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying time comes one more time to the Iron Shack. It is the home of the Thunder Nutz, coached by Vince Bombardi. Yes, this is going to be our last game of this season, and we're going to see at the end of this what all of our standing is. So, good place to end it with our dwarf team at their home field against the Water Sallies, coached by Beer Billies. This should be interesting, and it is a good one to have as the last one because we have Brawn versus Speed. You have Water Sallies, who are the fast team, and Thunder Nutz, who are a, dwarf team, so therefore they are tough and but slow. So, should be interesting to see the two strategies up against one another. Let's see how it goes and who's going to get the ball first. Oh, and this guy sort of jumped to move the camera there a little bit. Alright, so it looks like the Thunder Nutz will be kicking it off to the Water Sallies. So they don't have anybody in the backfield. That is actually that makes them very vulnerable to the Skaven. I don't know that they know that if the Skaven put somebody up front and get the ball, they can run right past them and there's nobody who can catch them. But they're going to just put it all in line right up front there. Water Sallies are going to come close to the front, but not quite. That's sort of that's an unfortunate move because they could be in position to really run it forward there. But anyway, brilliant coaching. Both teams get an extra re-roll. And the ball goes out of bounds. That's very vulnerable. That is actually what the least want. Oh, and they put it in the backfield. That's actually unfortunate for Water Sallies. That was a mistake they made. They put it up here. They could have run up here, and the Dwarves wouldn't have been able to catch them. But instead they're going to play it more standard, put it in the middle of the field, and give themselves the option to go left or right. And they're going to go ahead and put their Storm Vermin up there to protect them with the thrower back there. Of course, the Dwarves won't be able to run back and get them anyway. Alright, now they're going to start pushing their way through. Snowball, their Rat Ogre, is going to make a break on the left side. There we go. Yeah, you see, they run so far. I do not think the Dwarves could have caught them had they... Oh, and he runs a little bit too far and slips. That's where he could have gone to be out of the range of the Dwarf. Now he's going to do a reroll here. And now he makes it. Now you can see the Dwarf would not have been able... Oh, and somebody else tries to run for it and gets stopped by one of the Dwarves. But yet here, just as a point of fact here, you can see they... Oh, it looks like he even got an injury. They do not have the distance to run. Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to catch him. If he had had the ball, he'd be free to the end zone. But instead, they have it in the backfield there. And it looks like they tried to run through an area where the Dwarves could catch them. So, Water Sallies starting off with a mistake here. And now the Dwarves are exploiting that mistake and running it in to get the ball carrier. And it looks like they're actually going to run on... hit them on the left side for some reason. Alright, well, it is totally open on the right as well. And that is... just completely open. They can go running in there to stop them, but it does look like they realize a mistake. Oh, and they're going to slip in the backfield. Now if they can pass it out to that runner out there, it's going to be free for a touchdown. And with the reroll, he gets there. So Salacious is now protected, and the Dwarves are going to come in at the ball carrier. He is unprotected. They actually did have the distance, which was surprising for Dwarves. Skaven apparently thought they could get away with it, and the ball has been stripped from them. So now, not only have they made that mistake and not been able to get downfield, and they could have scored right now, and instead of getting all that, now they don't even have the ball, and they have a Dwarf in their backfield. Not anymore. Quackability Blip is stunned. And now the catcher's sure hands can't even pick it up until the ball is on the ground. So now it's even worse for them. Now, not only do they not have a touchdown, but the ball is loose. It's just completely falling apart. The Water Sallies were handed a gift at the beginning of the game, and they have completely messed it up. Everything is going against them at this particular point. And the Troll Slayer's going in after the Rat Ogre. They are used to going after larger things than themselves. And he not only takes him down, he injures him. Snowball loses 1 point of movement. And knocking down one of them, that is the Dwarf special ability when it would be a double knockdown. Instead, it is only a Skaven now that's on the ground. And the Dwarves are moving up there to get that ball. Got to knock down a few more rats here first. Stitch is knocked out. Man, the Skaven went from having a great advantage here to just having everything work against them this game. And watch, there will probably be another injury. Nope. But now the guy who can pick up the ball comes in. Who is that? Hingle McCringleberry has the ball. They are not that far from the end zone, so it went from a sure thing for the Skaven to now a great advantage for the Dwarves. Of course, you do have a Skaven right there, but you got a couple of Dwarves along with them. Goes to the Sewer Water Sallies. They're going to run onto both sides there, try to double up on the ball carrier. And here comes the Blitz. Only going to knock him back. They're actually going to move him closer to the end zone. And so now, the Dwarves not only are not stopped, they're actually getting closer. So the Skaven are going to do what they can to get into his face. Dipez Boopsy is stunned, but not out. And the Skaven can't even get in fact, they get the result that works in favor of the Dwarves. Would be a double knockdown against anyone else but the Dwarves. And so now, can the Dwarves get away from the Skaven and get that touchdown? Knock down another player. If these do not come back next time, this will just really be, it'll be bad for the Skaven. I was going to say a bad day for the Skaven, but it's already a bad day for them. One little mistake, or one big mistake, has now basically cost them this game, because not only are the Dwarves going to be possibly getting this run, but it's going to be very difficult for the Skaven to make anything else with losing all of these players. And now they're going to move another one of those Skaven out of the way. There are still two more there, but we're going to be able to see if Quackadilly Blip can... Oh, they still have their Blitz action, and knocking down another one out of the way, which he's going to be able to knock into one of the other Skaven and knock them all out of the way. So Quackadilly Blip now has free reign to run in for a touchdown. And there he goes, a score for the Dwarves, 1-0. And this is actually, by the way, we are sort of ending... he has Bingo McKingsbury getting his drink that is well-deserved. This is actually a game with two teams that have not won a game. Neither one, they've both tied games, but neither one has won a game. Usually one ends on undefeated teams or teams that have been doing well. These are the two that have been doing poorly, although the Thunder Nutz have done better than Sewer Water Sallies. Oh, and none of the knockouts come back. So the Sewer Water Sallies are in just a really terrible shape. They're only going to have a few players left on the field. Against an entire line of Dwarves, there just is not very much that they're going to be able to do. They're going to have the luck that they had last time, but that they wasted. And then they would have to not waste that. But anyway, throughout the season, the Thunder Nutz have done better than Sewer Water Sallies because while they have not won a game, they have had more ties. Well, now at least the Skaven are putting their gutter runners on the sidelines there, so if they happen to get the ball, if it happens to be an offside kick or a kick that goes out of bounds, they'll be able to give it to one of them, and they will be able to run it. Because I do not know if the Dwarves have anybody in the backfield. Once again, Sewer Water Sallies get an extra team reroll. They need it. Let's see if there's nobody, none of the Dwarves in the backfield. So we'll see if Sewer Water Sallies have kind of figured out what advantage they have. Well, the runner so far is he's throwing it to one of the right players. The gutter runner has it. And he goes right by him, dodges by him. He is out of there. He goes for it a few extra yards. He is 1 yard away from the end zone. That is what they missed last time. They have finally taken advantage of it. And now one of the players is going to cover. He's, of course, going to be against two Dwarves. He's going to be knocked down very poorly. But they are going and covering them at the very least. And they have two players there. And here comes a blitz to knock down one of them so that they get rid of any Dwarves that might possibly be in the way. And he's going to get knocked down. Nice Creep is now knocked unconscious. One of the two passers. So they now have 4 players that are injured, that are not going to be coming back, or that are at least knocked out, plus 1 injured. The Dwarves cannot go and catch the Skaven. Who is that runner anyway? It's Salacious. They cannot catch Salacious. So instead, they're just going to go up and start beating up some rats. That's what my girlfriend said when she saw some running around in the bedroom. Get some Dwarves to beat up these rats. That's exactly what she said. Yeah, just like that. And then what was really strange is some dwarves did show up. They all just kind of showed up, went into our room, started beating up rats. Peter Dinklage started stepping on everything he saw. It was just nuts. Then John Rhys Davies came in too, which was creepy because he's over 6 feet, but you know, he still comes to the call of the dwarves. And going after Stinky Tulip by the sidelines, they're going to knock him into the audience. The audience is going to stop on his face, hit him a bunch. And we do not know what happened to his fate. He just went into the audience there, and let's see if we have any word on what occurred with him. And Ratman has been knocked out. Alright, and then once again the Dwarven ability comes into play. Sir Water Sallies goes in for the touchdown. Salacious has gone in. And it is now 1-1. So there we have actually kind of seen the advantage of the two teams. We've seen the Skaven have their speed, use their speed to catch up with the Dwarves, and the Dwarves who use their power to steamroll over them. Dead and injured, we see the Ratman. Oh, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are knocked out. So that's what happened. Stinky Tulip got knocked out by the audience. And doesn't look like they're going to get any back. So, oh wait, it looked like they got all of them back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, and I can see, since they have both of their passers, they did get all of them back. So, with a few turns left in this half, we are going to have full teams on both sides. The Sir Water Sallies are getting sort of a zone defense there. They're putting their requisite 3 on the line, along with their Storm Vermin, so they've got the block ability. And the others sort of in checkerboard formation with Spot as the safety. And now the Dwarves have learned that they have somebody in the back, but of course they're not playing defense, they're playing offense. They're going to come back to catch the ball. It is their 2 runners who have the ability to be able, sure hands, being able to pick up the ball, about the only Dwarves who can do that. And it looks like the ball is going to go flying way out. Any players who are Sallies who's, oh, it's a high kick. And it goes way out of bounds. Touchback. Go to any player they want. They're going to put it to the closer of the 2, Hingle McCringleberry, the one who got the touchdown before. Everybody else is at the line, or almost at the line. They're going to try to push their way through. This is definitely the difference between these two styles. But I actually need to pause it here just to give a sense of this here. Let's play it forward a little bit, and then I'm trying to get this penguin is stunned off of here. Alright, there we go. So, they both really have been exemplary of their 2 styles. The Dwarves are, really strong and just want to try to steamroll as much as possible, so they just have a full lineup there with the ones backing them up to sort of see how things go. But their strategy is going to be to want to push as much as possible. The Sir Water Sallies, meanwhile, the Skaven team, is not going to necessarily want to try to do everything at the line because they get injured too easily, and they're not as strong as the Dwarves. So you notice they put themselves a little bit more in a scattered formation so as not to engage with the Dwarves and to try to kind of run around and basically be a roadblock and slow them down, which, when you're up against Dwarves, that's easy to do. They need to use their entire turn or their entire drive to run that football in there. You're not going to have these dramatic plays where they get in there in 1 or 2 turns. And they're doing exactly what they're good at. Just that mighty blow says it all. Oh, and one tries to slip by one of the Skaven, and there's another example. If this is something the Skaven can do, the Dwarves cannot. Oh, but there he did slip by. So, and looks like they're going to get in the faces of the Skaven. That's the thing, is when you basically get into the face of a rat, when you shine a light on them, they're going to have a much harder time doing something because they just are not going to engage as well as they can when they're using their speed to kind of run around and block you. Alright, so the Thunder Nutz have created a wall there on their left or right, and they're going to try to push through this side of the field. The Sewer Water Sallies now are going to bring some players over there, but even though as fast as they are, they do not quite have the speed to get over there. The Dwarves might actually have a gap here once they get this Skaven out of the way to run down this side of the field. Oh, there we go. And the Skaven have seen that. That spot went for it. Oh, and now Ratman is pulled back a little bit so that they have it protected. And now they're going to run one of their players down the field to try to maybe get behind, or, you know, in hopes they intercept, or that they get the ball somehow so they can pass it down there. Once again, they get their block result, so they're going to start clearing the way of those rats. And here comes another blitz from that side. Now it's interesting they use the blitz over there because that makes it opened up in the center field, and if they run by this way, yes, it's open, but they're, you know, not going to be able to move as quickly as the Skaven are. And of course the Skaven have these guys who are going to be getting up soon. They probably should have used their blitz on this guy and then, you know, made a run down the field. But it is too late at this point. They're just going to move very slowly up here. Oh, and Mingle McCringleberry is throwing it to the other carrier, and Murgatroyd Skittle now has got it after a reroll. He's thrown it to the other runner. Now the other runner has it. He has a clear path to the end zone. Skaven are not going to let that pass, though. They are going to get into his face. They're actually not going to just be a road bump. They're going to get into the face of him, and looks like they're doing a whole line over there, and then they're going to put another person there for a little bit of protection. And here comes, someone who's going to go running around, maybe go in for a blitz, but he gets tripped up. Skaven have the opportunity to get that runner, but do not manage to get there. They get tripped up before they can make that attack on the runner. And so now it goes to the Dwarves. They're going to be able to push through. They do have a line of Skaven there, but it does look like they'll be able to make it through that. Last time they punched through, even though the Skaven had several of their Ratmen there, they were able to punch through and get over. Now, of course, the Dwarves are starting with the other side. I'm not quite sure why, but they're making a gap where the ball carrier isn't anymore. And now they're going to start punching through that wall. They're coming running around the side. Nice Creep has been injured, so one of their passers has now lost the point of something. It went very quickly. Oh, it looked like they used their apothecary, so he is no longer injured. He is going to be... Oh, and now they sent out one of the other... they sent out Hingle McCringleberry, who had the ball, and he's passing it back. He dropped the ball, so it's going to be... Oh, it's Hingle McCringleberry throwing it, and falls into the hands of J.R. Jr. He was trying to get it to... over here to... well, we can't get it because of the attack going on right now at the ball, and the Skaven wastes no time going after it, and it falls into the hands of Beethoven. Beethoven now has the ball. He's running around. There are no Dwarves in sight. He got a long ways here. I just want to real quick see who this was. Oh, and he tries to pass it. He passes it, passed by Beethoven, over into the hands of Salacious. Salacious goes in for the touchdown. He has nobody in his way. He's got it all the way. He goes all the way. Touchdown, Water Sallies. Now it is 1-2. Wow, what a comeback. After starting out really just horribly behind, after making one mistake that cost them basically an entire drive and a score in the hands of the Thunder Nutz. Now they have come back and pulled out ahead, and they even have enough players back. The only one they don't have is their biggest one, which is their Rat Ogre. But it was their last play of this half too, 8-0. Or I mean 8-0. It is now on turn 8, so it is the last play of this half. It was the Water Sallies' last play when they made that touchdown. I get the idea. Brilliant coaching. Both teams get an extra reroll this half. Well, they're not going to be able to use it for very long. Alright, so now Thunder Nutz do not have a Murgatroyd Skittle and Hingle McCringleberry. Murgatroyd Skittle is the one who the pass was intended for last time, couldn't get it to him. So now the Dwarves, who cannot make it, they are not fast enough to make a touchdown in one turn, so they're just going to beat up rats. They're going to go rat hunting. They're going to go exterminating. Mama win exterminating. Yeah, and that'll do it for them there. Take down another one of their players. Nibbler is stunned, but not injured. So, KO'd or injury is what they're looking for at this point, or a death. And it'll be enough to take down that player. Oh, Knees Creep is dead! That's what they were looking for. And Knees Creep was the one that they just used the Apothecary on. So the Apothecary went to help with one of his injuries. Did manage to help him with his injury, but he was not there to help him when he was hit this time and killed. And so, Water Sallies have lost one of their passes. Speaking of passing, the Dwarves are trying their passing strategy again. The passing has gotten them in trouble, however, they are getting experience with it, so maybe we're going to start seeing a Dwarven passing team in the future. Wow, that was a big hit to the Skaven. Not only will they not be able to use them here, but they had just bought that passer. This was one of the first games that Knees Creep was used on, and now with him gone, they're down to one passer once again. That's a big blow, especially since they used their Apothecary on him. They could have saved that Apothecary for this, but the Water Sallies used him up to make sure he wasn't injured, and now they're going to lose him forever. So, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think they have a full team there. They both set up very quickly there. And it's a high kick. The player of the Thunder Nutz who's not in the tackle zone moves to a square where it's unoccupied. So, the Thunder Nutz can go and get that ball. And it falls out of his hands into the nearly into the touchdown, or end zone. So they're going to have a little bit longer to go here. That is one of the worst pieces of news for a Dwarf, because they're going to. It's going to take them longer to get down that field. It's basically like a quest for them. The Skavens or the Elves could have gotten that and gotten close to the front, but Dwarves, they're going to be on a quest just simply to get to the middle. And now at least he has the ball. He has the sure hands ability, so as the runner, he's able to get it. Murgatroyd Skittle has it. He passes it once again over to the other one that I keep forgetting. Hinglemacringleberry is the one I usually forget. Murgatroyd Skittle is the one I keep forgetting. But he had to use a re-roll to get it into the hands of the other one. Now, it does seem a little bit like a waste. I mean, Dwarf's throwing the ball. However, that did give him the longer distance that he needed to get it up close to the middle line. I mean, I had been saying it was going to be a quest for them just to get this far. It would have taken at least 2 turns. But this time, oh, he's going to injure one of the Skavens. Ouch. Okay, that was a foul, and he didn't see it because he was surrounded by his own guys. But yeah, the pass actually, it's interesting. The Dwarf player is discovering the ways that he can use passing. Usually, Dwarf coaches want to shy away from passing because they're not very good at it, but it has given them more speed and more distance, and so they're going to be able to get a little bit more distance than they normally would. And Skaven are getting themselves up into a sort of a checkerboard formation, but bringing a couple of their gutter runners around to the sides, around to the flanks, so they're sort of behind them. They maybe can go in and nip at his heels. And here comes one of their knocks against one of their players. Alright, so they got themselves set up. The Dwarves now go in. You've got one of the runners going up there. Murgatroyd Skittle getting up to the middle line. And McCringleberry, he's going to pass it to him here. Those two it's all about them throwing, and they're going to have to, in practice, just practice those throws because they're having to use up all their re-rolls. Their coaches having to use up all their re-rolls on these passes. But they're able to get it to them. Now they're going to form a box around them. Now, what's interesting here is they've only made 1 yard with all that. They actually could have pushed forward one, but I guess that was why they were hitting the one in the middle. Beethoven is KO'd. I guess that's why they were hitting this one that was right in the middle while he was on the ground, because they were probably trying to knock him out and get him out of the way so they could steamroll down the middle, but since they didn't, they're now going to get it over onto the side so they can make their run down that way. used up his turn doing that, but it looks like he got a pretty good wall around himself there. And now the Skaven are going to come around with the Gutter Runner, get right behind him. Of course, Gutter Runners are not very powerful, so he just basically gets there to harass him. And now Skaven are going to place some of their players around in front of him here. Probably create another roadblock. Notice that they're not engaging with them. Again, the strategy, the difference in the strategy between the Dwarves and the Skaven. The Skaven are going to keep a couple of spaces so that the Dwarves have to use up their only blitz against them, and they only get the one blitz. Whereas Skaven, for the most part, whereas Dwarves want to stay together, they want to knock into people as much as possible. But although there is going to be a little bit of fighting here, the Skaven are going to they're not going to do completely zone. They're going to engage with them a little bit. And now they're going to bring the Gutter Runner in behind to be threatening from that angle. They give a punch to the face to Ratman. Ratman. And these that are engaged with the Dwarves are, of course, going to get their lights punched out. That's usually what happens when you mess with a dwarf. Oh, but when you run by a Skaven, they are going to trip you up. They got that tail and those legs and everything. Especially when you are a dwarf and have stubby little legs and are not able to get through very easily. And Skaven are going to knock him back and stay back themselves. They're going to continue that sort of zone defense there. A.A. Ron Backley is injured. Actually, you don't see that very often, a Skaven injuring a dwarf. Oh, and they use the apothecary on him. But yeah, when you're up against a team as strong as the Dwarves, you usually want to keep some room. However, it looks like the Skaven do keep getting in their faces over on this side, but on this side they kind of keep their distance. Really, all they want to do at this point is just slow the Dwarves down. They've got the points. The Skaven are ahead 2-1. So at this point, you just want to keep those Dwarves from scoring. You want to run the time out and make them go so slow that they can't get in there. And here comes that one blitz I was telling you about. And a heavy punch in the nose is going to stun Spot. But they still don't really have a gap. They have a little bit of a gap here, but now Spot is kind of in the way, so it's going to be hard for them to get down here, at least with their blockers. So instead, they're going to put themselves in this pocket right down here in the middle, surrounded by Skaven. They still have a few more moves this turn, though, so they might open that up just a little bit. Yeah, they are going to create a gap over here on this side. Oh, just with the Gutter Runner. Now it comes to the Skaven's turn. And now they're going to push their way in. No more zone defense for them. They're going to push in there. And that sounded like it hurt. Naquilis Dilwad is stunned. And here comes the blitz action into the ball player. All they do is knock him back. Knock him into a player who goes back further that way. And right to where they have another player. They're going to bring their Gutter Runner around to make it a little bit easier to knock him down. Oh, and both of them blocked. They both have the block ability. No reroll on that. And knock into him again, and all they're doing is just knocking that player around. And they have no more blitz action, and so all they're going to be able to do is get around him. But they're going to place a whole bunch of them around. Now remember, I was saying the Skaven usually don't like to engage, especially with someone like the Dwarves. But in this case, they had that runner. It's time for them to go running in there. Oh, and they just get knocked down all over the place. But anyway, so now they're all fully engaged in there. The Dwarves will usually win a brawl like this. However, there are a lot of Skaven in there, so we're going to see how this goes. Will they be able to clear out a path for their runner to go? And there's going to be a lot of knocking around here. You're knocking one guy into another, into another. Oh, with a frenzy, you're really going to get him out of the way. And knock him down. Nibbler is even injured. With no apothecary left to cover them, he's just out of this game. So, going to take down Stinky Tulip for a little while. And now the ball carrier, rather than trying to run with it and slipping, he's just going to punch one of the rats that are behind him. And look at that. That is just a field full of rats laying down and with stars over them. So the comes back to the Skaven, but they do not have a lot of players left. So that's the answer to... that really just kind of showed you why Skaven don't usually engage. Why, for them, it's usually a zone defense. And watch, he's going to probably knock him down. And I'll doubt he'll follow. Right, exactly. There we go. So they're leaving that space there, so the Dwarves will only have one blitz action to use against them, keeping as much space from them as possible. In fact, there are no Skaven touching the Dwarves this time because they want them to have to use up that one blitz action and then not be able to attack anymore. Another player down for a little while. Here comes the ball carrier running down the side. Oh, he found a gap. He's way out there. Oh, and he goes for it, but he slips and falls. Ball is open. He's going to use the reroll here, and he still falls. The ball's loose. The Dwarves, who had a real good chance of tying the game there, has now dropped the ball, and the Skaven have the speed to go get it. The Dwarves really do not, but the Dwarves are more in the way, and they are blocking them, so we're going to see if they can make it. Have one of them. They're not going for the ball yet. It looks like he's going to get in position to help knock down one of the Dwarves. And all they're going to be able to do is push him to the side, so he's still going to be in the way of going and getting that ball. So now, does he have the distance? Who is this? No, he does not. One space away. Spot even did a go-for-it action. Two go-for-it actions, I think, and came one space short of getting it. They even have somebody way out in the open there. Could be going out for two gutter runners that the ball could be thrown to, but he can't quite get to the ball. And now goes the Dwarves, and Margaret's Skittle is right next to there, and you do have some other Dwarves, but they're all being blocked by Skaven. And a lot more shifting around once again. You know, it seems like the Dwarves have had better crowd control than the Skaven in this game. They've been able to undo some of these puzzles several times. And it looks like, yeah, they have moved once they've, like I say, adjusted the puzzle enough, so now they can send one of their guys out here to knock Spot out of the way. Not going to knock him into the ball. Knocking him down. Spot is now injured. And there's nothing they can do, so Spot is out of this game, and the road is clear for the Dwarves to get it. He picks it up, and he goes in for touchdown, Thunder Nutz! 2-2, Murgatroyd Skittle with the touchdown. It is typically one of those two runners. They're the ones who usually can pick up the ball, hold it, and run. And now the Dwarves, with their second turn, have tied this game up. So it's going to go to the Skaven, and it's going to be up to the Skaven to be able to get a quick touchdown. There are not many turns left in this game, but look at all those players who are out. Dead and injured. One who's knocked out, only one's coming back into this, so they do not have a large team to come in for this last one. I'm not even sure if it's a full one. And they only have 2 turns to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players to be able to run down, and they could do it if the Dwarves had not figured out the zone def or the safeties here. So they are going to be able to tackle somebody if the Skaven try to sneak by. There, yeah, you can see he's really thinking about it because he's moving them around a bit, and he is scattering them around a little more zone than the Dwarves are usually doing. They don't have as many on the line. They know that the Skaven are going to try to run out there, yeah, and that they're doing exactly what they expected. They put the 2 gutter runners on the sides, some blockers in there. So both teams are going to get an extra reroll. They're both going to need it here. The ball's going to go off to the side. And so the Skaven are going to make a gap there on their right side or left. Oh, and they used the blitz action so he can knock into him and move forward to block the what's it called? Safety. And now Ratman has picked up the ball. He's going to pass it to Stinky Tulip. Stinky Tulip now has the ball, and he's going to go for it. He's running down that sideline. He gets almost to the touchdown. Now, Metroid Skittle does have does have the speed to go and catch him, but he is being blocked by one of the other Skaven. I think it was Baldy there. By Stitch, sorry. Baldy was the one who just attacked. So Stitch is blocking him from being able to go, and he's going to take another gutter runner away from over the other side of the field over here to block this player. Sir, Sagarit something. Alright, and so the Dwarves are going to start off with just boldly attacking whoever's at the front, just going, screw it, we're probably not going to be able to get the ball again, so we're just going to injure you again. And that would actually be just sort of a... Wow. Yeah, just knocking him. I mean, if they get a accidental bad reroll, the Dwarves will have to use up their last reroll. I mean, if they get a bad roll, they're gonna have to use their last reroll on an area that isn't that important. And they are gonna knock down one of the gunner runners who was covering him, but he did his job by making 3 of the Dwarves have to take care of him. That Salacious did his job. He did what he wanted. Okay, now, and he runs out. This is the play. He managed to slip out of his grasp and got to Sticky Tulip. The blitz action has taken down Sticky Tulip. He knocks him out of bounds into the crowd that kills him. The crowd who'd seen Sticky Tulip before, knocked him unconscious, are tired of him getting in the field and just slit his throat, just murdered that rat. That is sad, and he almost had a touchdown, but instead he winds up dead, and now the ball's on the other side, and the Dwarves have it. There's no way they're going to be able to get it to their end zone, but they are keeping the Skaven from being able to get their touchdown, and so this may be over for them. Oh, and they try to make another run, but it doesn't matter. Comes to the Skaven. The only hope Skaven have now, they still could get a touchdown. They have a player right here that if he can slip out of the grasp of this one, he can get to him. And if you can take him down, somebody might be able to get the touchdown. He might actually just have the yardage to get in there. Most people wouldn't, but this is Skaven. So now they're going to try to take down that player. They knock... Okay, well, they use their last reroll to push him down. The ball is going to go loose. It had to do that reroll. Now, he has just enough yardage. Will he be able to make it? He gets the ball. Yes, he does, and he drops it. Oh my God! The odds of him getting away were smaller, but getting the ball was actually pretty good. But it goes out of his grasp, and if they hadn't used their last reroll on tackling the Dwarven player, he would have gotten it, and you would have seen a 3-2 score there. But since they weren't, he drops the ball, and you wind up with yet another tie. The Thunder Nutz are very used to ties. They've gotten a lot of them. The Water Sallies were used to losses. This is another tie for them, but it does end up with neither of them getting the victory here. So, you have your MVPs for the game are Marbadoon Shazbo. He's a Longbeard. I don't even remember him doing much. I don't know why they have him as the MVP. And Penguin. I don't remember him doing very much. I would have given it to Stinky Tulip, who died, who actually had some pretty good things there. But anyway, I guess it would just make us all too sad. So, there's your score. Here are your statistics. Dwarves, of course, had it for longer because Water Sallies don't need it for very long before they run in. They get their large yardage running, getting it in for the touchdown. And there you go. For all of those, the SPP for this game. Man, look at the Thunder Nutz. Look at all of the SPP. They are going to come back next season with a very experienced team. Water Sallies, they get a lot on Penguin. The little on Salacious and Beethoven Spot rounded up for the last amounts. There are your dice rolls for those of you who are interested. This is the Thunder Nutz one. There's Water Sallies. And both teams. D6 and the block dice. It was just, this was a, this was one of those where you were getting misses at critical times, and that really made it exciting. That was sort of the, that's what makes some of these games really, like I say, just really exciting, really edge of your seats. So, there you go. There's the last day. That is the end of your season. So let's take a look at the leaderboard. And so first place was the undead team called Nurgle's Leftovers. Do not mix them up for the Nurgle team, which is Pus and Pestilence, which came in second. But in first place is Dust Off, who's the undead. They actually have a lot of players from other ones, from other teams, players who died and then were resurrected in his team. His team value is 1230. Wins, 1-2-3-0. Huh? Anyway, 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. On the second, as I said, is the Nurgle team, Pus and Pestilence. The coach is Torpid Frog. Team value has gone down. He actually was high, but of course in that first game he lost. Actually, he's gone through this whole season with a low team value, but he did do it very well. Obviously, he came in second. He kept getting that because he had a low team value. He was able to get that star player a lot of the times. Anyway, so he has 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. So it's actually tied with Nurgle's Leftovers. But I don't know if it's the team value that put Nurgle's Leftovers first, or if it's the number of points they scored per game. But anyway, so that's how the league has chosen it. Third is Chaos, the Beast Friends. That was coached by Huskerfan, 1580 points. He started and ended with the highest team value, and so a lot of people got to have mercenary players with him. 3 wins, 0 draws, and 2 losses. So he never let it tie. He either won it or lost it. Dwarf team, which we just watched, the Thunder Nutz, coached by Vince Lombardi, despite having only 1 win. Oh, so he did have a win. Okay, so that's why he's higher up here. Team value is 1190. He had 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses, and that's really what puts him above the Sewer Water Sallies down there. But in 5th place, Lizard Man, who had really bad luck in both seasons. That's the Seattle Slither. Junior 4888 is the coach, and 1090 team value, 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses, which again is tied with the Thunder Nuts. But once again, the Thunder Nuts do have the higher team value, so I don't know if it's that again, or if it could be the fan factor or what. But anyway, in our last place is the Skaven, the Sewer Water Sallies, who have lost a number of opportunities that they had. It's coached by Beer Belly. Although one thing that was interesting, you see their team value there is 970. Throughout much of the season, their team value was over 1,000. It was much higher. And it was higher than a lot of teams that actually had better players, like Pus and Pestilence. So I'm not sure how that was determined. In fact, even at the end of the game, even with all their losses, they're still considered to have a higher team value than Pus and Pestilence, who has all of their best players. But anyway, they have 0 wins. They never won a single game this season. 2 draws and 3 losses, which is the most amount of losses in this game. But somebody has to come in last, so I suppose it was them. Here we have the various teams, so we're going to have to see them next season. I'm just going to real quick give you a view of all of them. You have, there's your Sewer Water Sallies team. Let's see who is their top player that's going to be going into next season. It looks like there are several of them at second level. Let's look at the top one then. Spot, who is their thrower. He's got the pass and sure hands, which he started with, and Nerves of Steel. The player ignores modifiers for enemy tackle zones when he attempts to pass, catch, or intercept. So he is ready for any time anybody is in his face and trying to interfere with him. Let's go back to... Let's look at the Seattle Slither. There you have their team. They're still evenly matched between the big ones and the small ones. They have yet to level up some of their guys, but it looks like, yeah, level 2 is still their highest one. Here is the top of this was one of their skinks. Itzaja. And he has a catch the dodge, so he's normally they have those 2, and then he's got the catch to be able to go out. And so now they have a catcher that they're ready for next season. Itzaja, I think he managed to do a lot of... basically like any skink you'd expect. Ran around, dodged, and got in there. The Skaven star player, Spot, has been the one typically in the backfield getting the ball and passing it to everybody else. There you have the Nurgle's Leftovers, who is Dust Off. Their team roster. They've actually got a 3rd level character. This is their top one, Corpse Slicer. He has been a ghoul who has been going for a lot of catches. And on the defense, he's just always been in the face of the opponent. That's really what makes him a leader. And let's see, a team with one or more players with leader skill take a single leader reroll counter and add it to their team rerolls. Oh, okay, so they're going to be able to have more team rerolls next season. But he has been the one that's just sort of always been all over the field. Plays very much like a Skaven, actually. Right, then Thunder Nutz, the team we just watched. Here's the team. Here's your team for you. The team roster. Again, you're going to have, looks like Kingleberry will probably be going to third level. Let's take a look at where he is currently. So far, he's basically got all the skills that he starts with, so we're going to see him do a lot more. Oh, I guess we have statistics here as well. He's been the MVP. He's gone through 8 matches, 2 passes. Yeah, there you go. You can see all of that. I think they've been spending a lot of their points, especially on these, although their fan factor's been going up a bit, and they have 3 team rerolls at the beginning, which is sort of nuts. Here are the Beast Friends. Wow, they have got a complete team. They have not been losing very many, and they've got one with a what's it called? A mutation, actually. In fact, is that this one? Let's see. Who is they? There's their level 3 character. They have a couple of level 3 characters. Let's go ahead and look at Douse Dinglemark. And he's got the Dirty Player, which actually Husker fan I know likes to play that sort of thing. He's also going to be playing a Goblin team. He likes the Dirty Player type of thing, so of course he's going to choose that for one of his guys. Doesn't care that he's just a that he's mostly a tank. He wants him to be able to hit people while they're down, which is what it's really all about. I mean, this is Blood Bowl after all. And finally, oh, you know what? I didn't look at their statistics either. Here, finally, Pus and Pestilence. They look like a mixture between the undead and the beast friends, beastmen. It looks like they have just level 2 characters, so let's look at Ew. Ew has been actually throughout the season, Ew has been one that sort of, you don't really see and then just kind of appears out of nowhere, winds up with the ball, and that's probably why he's giving him Sure Hands. He's already had some of these others, but Sure Hands is going to make it. It's because he oftentimes would just, suddenly, the ball would go down, he'd be right there, but he'd drop it. So this is so that he stops dropping that ball. Let's look at this. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I wanted to do this. Actually, I wanted to just go ahead real quick, just go through all of these, just the top players one more time, because I did not go through their statistics. So he's never been despite his higher level, he's never been MVP. That's interesting. He shows up all the time, and he ends up having the ball and throwing it a lot. And look at all those yards running, but he has never been an MVP, which is interesting. He's had an interception one time. Anyway, so that's the Skaven top player, Seattle Slither top player. Itzaja. Let's look at his statistics. He's been MVP only once. I thought, okay, I've seen him. I thought I saw him on there more than that. But 178 yards running, just him alone. You can see he's just running through, dodging through everybody's feet. He's been one of those players that just everybody tries to catch, everybody knows about, but nobody can quite catch him. Nurgle's Leftovers. Let's take a quick look at Corpse Slicer's statistics. I think this is one we already saw, but 196 yards running. Now, yeah, that makes sense. Again, he's always there in your face. He's all around the field. You think that he's nowhere to be found, and then next thing you know, he's right there. Although he does take a lot of injuries because he's been out there a lot. And whereas the Seattle Slither star player, he's really had, people have had trouble even catching him, so they haven't really been able to injure him. I just clicked on the wrong one. Hingle McCringleberry here. Hingle McCringleberry and Murgatroyd Skittle are, they're basically the partners. They're the ones who always are winning these games. Now, 172 yards running, that actually surprises me. I know that they've been running a lot, but then again, it's because they're pretty much always the ones who have the ball. If you were to look at the other ones, they probably would, wait, one crowd surf's inflicted. That's interesting. I haven't seen that before. Anyway, I bet if you looked at the other dwarves, there would be like 0 yards or whatever. And that's, that's a long way for one dwarf to run. But like I say, it's because he pretty much always gets the ball. All right, then he and his partner. All right, let's look at the ones of Douse Danglemark here. Dangle, well, that's appropriate for somebody who's a dirty player. Anyway, all right, yards running. He has never had the ball. So 66 blocks succeeded. So yeah, that's really where he's at. He's the one who's blocking other people. 47 sustained, so he's always in the middle, knocking around people. And he also is a sort of a scary appearance, so people don't want to go after him. Finally, Pus and Pestilence. Let's take a look at you. and take a look at his statistics. 1 MVP, he's been in 5 matches, 28 yards running. Yeah, you know, and I bet what he's wanting is more of his yards to be running, because he's like oftentimes there right when the ball hits, falls to the ground. So it's, yeah, really a, you know, not a particularly dramatic set of statistics there, but like I say, he's oftentimes there when everybody sees him. Anyway, alright, so that'll be it for us here. This was the end of the season. We hope that you enjoyed this. That was the Bloodiest competition. We'll be coming back with more competitions in the future with these and other teams. None of these were from Legendary, because we started this competition before Legendary came out, and now it's out, and so now we're going to have some of those teams coming in. So tune in next time. Be sure to subscribe so you see when we have another competition, when we have more of these and other teams will develop and build, and you're going to see more of these characters. But for now, we're signing off. Thank you all for watching, and happy gaming, everybody.